It's Black Friday and the kickoff of Feature Fridays on the Marketing EdVenture podcast. Welcome on into the room. Today I'm here with my very first guest, who is no stranger to me. She is Briaana Lark, a fashion marketing educator and adjunct instructor at Skyline Career Development Center in Dallas, Texas. What's unique about Briaana being a teacher is that she was once my student in the very program she's teaching now. Her story is a true testimony of the influence of CTE programs and participation in a CTSO. After graduating from the fashion marketing program at Skyline, Briaana continued her education at Stephen F. Austin University to obtain her degree in fashion merchandising with a business minor. Over the last 10 plus years, she's flourished in her career in retail management and visual merchandising. As I began to plan my exit from teaching, I made a list of potential replacements. Briaana was number one on the list. After 3 years and several no's, Briaana finally accepted the role of fashion marketing educator. Now I'll let her tell you about that. Just as I knew she would, she hit the ground running and has brought so much energy, perspective, relatability, and tangible industry experience to the program and connects with the students in a real way. She has accomplished so much in her 2.5 years of teaching. She's taken students to ICDC 2 years straight, awarded the Dallas ISD CTE Level Up Award, and her campus accolades is that she's gotten Teacher of the Month, she's been the Rookie Teacher of the Year, and she serves on many committees and is also a mentor on her campus. She also has been a camp counselor for an accounting camp during the summer. Our conversation was so juicy and full of valuable insight that it's a 2-part series. You ready? Come on into the room. You're listening to Marketing EdVenture, the hub for business, fashion, marketing, and other CTE educators who integrate marketing into the learning experience. I'm your host, Jackie Walker. Each week, I'll cover marketing education concepts, strategies, tips, trends, frameworks, and other information to equip you to connect your classroom to digital natives while cultivating an engaged learning environment. So come on into the room where your favorite beverage, snacks, and even your cell phone are all welcome. So welcome to Marketing EdVenture with Jackie Walker. And we're going to get into an interview with our first guest of the show, Miss Briaana Lark. We have so much to talk about. I'll tell you just a little bit that Briaana is a former student of mine who is now teaching, but I'll let her tell you about herself. So Briaana, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you. I feel honored to be the first person. A little bit about myself. Skyline is my alma mater, so it's near and dear to my heart because it's where I spent my high school career. And then after transitioning into the industry, I was able to make a full 360 and end up with the teaching position at that school. So I have a lot of good things going on now.
So tell us about your path that you traveled from the time you left Skyline until you made your return.
Okay, so after I left Skyline, I went off to college and I went to Stephen F. Austin State University, where I studied fashion merchandising and general business. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be general business, but I knew I thought it would be business management. But I ended up finding out after talking to my advisor that I had enough hours to graduate and be in general business. But I did 4 years at SFA. I was very involved on campus. I was head stylist for an organization called Fashion in Motion, which pretty much raised awareness to the campus. So we did fashion shows around domestic violence, abuse, oppression. So I led a team of probably 12 students on campus where we picked out the segments for the shows, and I basically paired them up with models and we picked outfits for them. I was a wardrobe stylist for the theater production. I was pretty involved with a lot of things in the multicultural center. So like helping out with eco-friendly fashion shows and different things like that. We did a fashion show for Erykah Badu. So I've did a lot of behind the scenes for fashion shows as a director and a stylist. I founded the first plus size beauty pageant on campus.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was one of my biggest accomplishments.
Awesome. Awesome. And so what
After
did you do after school? Go ahead.
after school, I graduated and I moved back to Dallas, actually. I thought I was going to land this amazing role, but I was humbled. Ended up working at Sears, actually. They hired me. Me and my mom were shopping and she was like, just give it a try. And so I'm like, I got this bachelor's degree. I went in for the job and I got hired seasonally. And so I ended up taking the job and of course killed it. And so they ended up asking me to stay and I asked to become a visual merchandiser. And so I had to prove my point to them that I could be a visual merchandiser, which was setting the tables, doing planograms, setting mannequins and different things. And after about 3 months, they actually made me a lead. And so I ran the women's department, petite, fine jewelry, and shoes. So that was like my big debut. And then after that, I did that for about 2.5 years. Even after I moved to Houston, I transitioned to another Sears and I ran those departments plus men's and kids. So pretty much all of soft lines. And so that was like my debut into just retail management. Worked at Sears for 2.5 years and I was at Children's Place part-time. So I was getting a little bit of that specialty retail on top of the big box retail. And then after leaving Sears, I got recruited by Forever 21. They found me on LinkedIn and I was living in Houston still. And so I ended up becoming a merchandising manager for them. And this was when Forever 21 was popping. Everybody was wearing Forever 21. And so I ran the truck team there. And so it was a little bit different from what I did because I just had a team of people where we set the floor. So we would come in early. It would take time to do that. You have to put the stickers on the windows. If there's bubbles, they have visits just for visual merchandising. And so heading a team where we got the freight to the floor, doing the floor sets, doing the mannequins and different things. I ran the team there, left Forever 21. I went to G by Guess. And I worked there, another specialty store, worked there for about a year as a co-manager. I ran the women's department there, and then left from there, a lot of retail, and went to Old Navy, where I got the opportunity to move back home to Dallas. Worked at Old Navy. I was actually a merchandising manager again, but this time it was for a team of 150. So I was in charge of hiring, terminations. I was introduced to operations. So I started to learn things operationally, aside from visual, because you give me a table and I can throw it, I can do you a wall, I can look at a picture and replicate it, but this was new to me and I was apprehensive at first. So I was like, I'm strictly art. I don't want to do anything, but they were like, you'll never understand the front end if you don't learn operations. So I learned about theft and loss prevention and customer service and all these different things. And after leaving Old Navy, I went off to Target. I spent 3 years at Target as an ETL, executive team leader. There was 4 of us. It was myself, a hard lines ETL, an HR ETL, and then back of house. And so there it was by department. So I ran the clothing department, the beauty department, and the tech department. So all specialty selling areas. And there it was pretty much a delegating role. This was probably my biggest role thus far. I ran a team of about 70. But I had 4 leads under me, 2 visual merchandisers under me. So this was me I'm planning, I'm holding them accountable. I'm training them on how to train the team. By far one of the best companies to work for. They take care of their employees. They pay well. I mean, cashiers are getting paid $17 an hour at Target. And it's just all around a good culture there. But there I learned everything you could think of in retail, from running a massive truck for a grocery store, a pharmacy. But most of all, I learned customer service there. You never say no to anybody at Target. So just going through those situations. And then I ended up doing that for 3 years. And then I was recruited by my former teacher, which is yourself. And so that at the time I was stressed with retail because, like they say, it's the golden handcuffs. You know, they pay you amazing, but you don't have a life. You don't get weekends off. You don't get holidays off. So I was at a crossroad.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, you have a lot of history behind you in retail, and all awesome. So, as you said, you were recruited into teaching. So what made you decide to take on a teaching role?
So crazy thing is I had a really rough day at work one day. And I think it was like, you get these visits at Target, and when they come in, it has to be spot on. It's like a walk with you, your leads, and your store manager and the director, and they come and they nitpick everything, right? Looking at the paint, saying the mannequins were dirty. It was things that they had to make, and I just had a really rough day, and I remember just going home and crying, like not feeling like nothing is ever good enough. And I was just stressed. It's one of those situations where you don't have enough hours, but you got a double truck. You got people calling out. You got this, you got that. So I was just stressed. And I remember just talking to God and just saying, I need a shift. Like, I need to change. I can't keep doing this. And you contacted me for like the third time. Asking me to come because you asked me a couple times previous, and I said no. I said the pay is not there. You know, I have a certain lifestyle with these different things, and I was scared. I was comfortable. And after you contacted me again, and I said no, and we got the mix up to where I said no, but Mr. Sologren still reached out to me, which is the coordinator at Skyline. He coincidentally, it was two Brianas. He called me not knowing that it was the wrong Briaana. And so I remember driving to Houston and saying, God, you know, like I asked for this and I'm fighting it. I'm fighting against it. I don't want to leave. Like, why do I want to stay here? And so you had told me you get holiday, like all these different things, you know, you was like, I'm leaving. I trust you to take my spot, and just you believing in me more than I believed in myself, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing with you and our connection, you know, you just saying like, you can fill my place. And I'm thinking, no, I can't. You've been doing this for 15 years, you know. And so I remember saying, if he calls me back, then that's God telling me to do it. And he called me back, and it just went from there.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you took the opportunity, because I believe it's a perfect marriage of, you know, your experience in high school, out in your career, and then bringing it back to where it all began. Hey, adventurous educator. I just want to take a quick break to ask, is this your first time teaching fashion marketing, or do you need a boost in your curriculum? Well, look no further. I have the Ultimate Fashion Marketing Class Bundle. It's packed with 4 vibrant presentations, fun and engaging activities, quizzes, and 4 major projects for an immersive semester of fashion exploration. And it comes with a pacing guide for an 18-week semester. Additionally, each assignment has detailed student instructions and suggested pacing times so that you can tailor the time frame to fit your teaching schedule. For more information about this must-have bundle, go to marketingedventure.com and search Ultimate Fashion Marketing Class Bundle, or simply click the link in the show notes. Now back to the show. So tell me a little bit about the program that you are teaching.
Sure. So I teach at Skyline High School, which is one of the first magnet schools, one of the best schools in Dallas, one of the biggest schools. And I teach in the fashion marketing program. Well, I teach in the fashion cluster. And in the program, it's split into 2 sectors, which is fashion design, which is a really cool 4-year experience that the kids get. And then there's fashion marketing, which is the side that I teach. And in the realm of that, I teach, I'm an advisor for CTSO, which is DECA. And then I'm also an instructor for Nifty, which is an entrepreneurship curriculum. I'm a dual credit instructor, an adjunct for El Centro. Yeah, that's pretty much most of the program as far as the organizations.
Okay. So it's a 4-year fashion marketing program. It's pretty
Yes.
extensive.
Yes.
Yes.
years. Their first year they'll take both courses, right? So fashion design and fashion marketing. And then at the end of their freshman year, they'll decide which route they want to take. If they take the marketing route, they'll jump right into their dual credit courses where they're taking courses like color theory, intro to fashion advertising campaign. And it just gives them that opportunity just to be in the industry and be by industry partners and just have coursework that college students have right now.
Excellent. Excellent. That sounds great. So with students, because we know coming in as a freshman for sure, that a lot of the classes that they're taking with you, the concept and the content is very new to them because they haven't had anything that's familiar to marketing or fashion. So how do you engage them?
Sewing. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's just sewing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing first is I'm all about experiences and making things relatable. And so I always have a group of upperclassmen, right, that I've pretty much worked with and not polished, but just worked alongside them. And they've experienced a lot, and not just with it just being strictly instruction, but being outside of the classroom, being in the industry, going on field trips and doing these different things. And I put them around these leaders so that they can see, you know, hey, if you're working hard and you're focused and you're paying attention, you know, the work is there, but the experiences over here that I get, you know, the opportunities that I get, it's not a normal cluster. It's not one that, or class, you know, and that's the cool thing about Skyline. They put you in these habitats or environments where you don't have to stay in the classroom, you know, and you're learning outside of the classroom. And I think when they see that, you know, it's like, okay, let me do what I got to do so I can get over there with them. That's one of the ways I get their buy-in. Another way is just setting the expectations from day one, right? This is a cluster, you know, you applied to be here, and let's act like it. You know, that's how it was when I think back to how it was with y'all. You know, I think back to how it was with you and Miss Brooks, and just, this is something that you apply for. This is something that you want, you know? So.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. So students who do struggle to like understand the concepts of, say, entrepreneurship, because there's a lot of new terminology, a lot of concepts, they don't have an idea about a business plan or anything like that. How do you reach them or get them to level up as far as their knowledge and information?
That's a good question. So I painted to them as it's practice for DECA. And again, they see those DECA girls, they see them with their blazers. And I love my leaders because I remember when I was there, I was like, I don't want to wear this blazer, but they will throw it on, and it's like a shield. It's like they're proud. And it excites me that I've built these kids up to that point, because it's like when you're a freshman, you keep hearing DECA, but you don't know what it is, you know? And so to them, we hype it up. And so I say it's practice. They have a pitch, you know. Another cool thing is Nifty, the curriculum is fun. It's fun. So if I'm introducing communication and collaboration, okay, we're going to have an activity where you can't talk, but you have to draw the picture and you got to be able to collaborate. Entrepreneurs don't have certain resources, and sometimes they have to use what they have. So I'm going to give you a bucket of random stuff and you got to build me a bridge. And then I want you to go back and test it and make changes and do surveys and get your target audience. So it's different things that Nifty does where it's every single class is hands-on. It's maybe 2 case studies and maybe a couple student reflections, but for the most part, the students are working with their hands. So they're excited to come to class. And even when I talk to some parents, they're like, you're the teacher where they built the bridge? Are you the teacher where they built the tower? Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. Or they built the backpack, so I make it to where it's fun. And even with the pitch deck, I say, in order for you to go compete at the end of the year, you got to act like the DECA students and you got to be professional. And so I think to them, it's exciting for them. I haven't had a student yet that doesn't like the entrepreneurship course, honestly.
Yeah, those experiential activities are key to engaging the students. All right. So now, as far as any challenges, because I know it's been, teachers face all kind of challenges from students, from the admin, from parents. So let's start with the students. What kind of challenges do you run into with your classroom, and how do you, navigate through those challenges?
Okay. So for the most part, I don't really have many challenges as far as the students, except when it comes to the freshmen, because how the program is set up, you got 30 freshmen for an hour and 30 minutes, and you're trying to teach them about entrepreneurship, and they have this middle school mentality. And sometimes I forget it because I'm so used to my sophomores and up, and they're so poised and they know, and so these kids, it doesn't matter how many I can say we write vocabulary 100 times and they still gonna be giggling and laughing. It's just their mentality. So that part is challenging, trying to navigate through that, because it's always a handful of kids in the freshman class, and this is my third year. I always have a handful that just can't stop talking, can't stop, so that's challenging in a sense, but I try to keep those kids busy. Hey, you collect the right to learn. Hey, you go ahead and get everybody binder so I can grade them and pass it back, and try to keep them going. Or when I'm doing lessons, I'm calling on them to get them to participate or praising them when they're doing right, because I feel like those are the kids that want the attention the most. But the upperclassmen, other than them being lazy and I have to give them a pep talk every now and again, no challenges there, none at all. I'm blessed.
Awesome. Sounds like you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
All right. What about with the admin, or just like with the expectations of the teachers from the admins, or the district or whoever?
Yeah. So luckily enough, I have an amazing support system in my school. Like, it doesn't matter what we need. My girls are covered. Teachers are running to us to help us. The principal, we have a new principal. My last principal, she was amazing. She supported us to the end, not even just DECA stuff, but fashion in general. And so even the principal is now. But I've run into a lot of unfortunate situations with, and it might sound weird, but the field trip side of things. The paperwork, that's been my biggest headache. Like, my first year post-COVID, you weren't there anymore, and I asked you enough questions to the point where it started getting to the point where he was like, well, they weren't doing, that's just started, or different things like that. So I was at a point where it was like, Bri, you gotta figure it out. It's not going to get done if you don't figure it out. And it was at a point where everything was new. So even the people at my school, assistant principals, when I found out, I was training them, or they were sending people to me. So I'm just that type of person like you, where I just go until I find the answer that I need. And you taught me that. Like, I'm climbing up the chain with it, so I'm holding you accountable. I'm circling back, and it just, I couldn't procrastinate. And so my biggest frustration, I've cried to my friends about, it's frustrating because as much as you want to do for these kids, the funding is minimal. And when I got there, I had $300 in an account to do activities. And these kids need thousands of dollars for one day to compete. And so I'm winning these competitions and we're going places, but it's costing. And so it just sucks, because I'm like, as coming into this industry, I'm thinking there's accounts places. All I got to do is this, and so it's like, on top of people not knowing how to do stuff because it's new, on top of me being new and people being in new positions, like a new principal, she's learning things too. It's frustrating. Even when you call up to the people at the main building asking for different things. They don't know the answer sometimes. So they're having to find the answer. That's the most frustrating part. Not even just necessarily my admin at my school. Not my admin. I haven't had yet a problem. Thank you, Jesus. But just the logistics of a field trip, like the paperwork behind it, I've had to come out of pocket. It's just that. And then, of course, the dual credit communication, and I struggled. It was a challenge in the beginning with the dual credit, but the biggest part is my challenge is field trips.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand that teaching is not just teaching.
No.
It's navigating through all the things behind the scenes. And
then
those can be the most.
It's not right, and you got to edit it again, and I tell my students, like, this is a job in itself. Job in itself.
Right.
But that's
right.
Students, okay. Parents, even okay. Parents are good. It's just that logistics of that paperwork and all it, even just trying to get a fundraiser, you gotta go through. You got to get it approved by the BOC committee. It got to go through the principal and then get, it's weeks before it's approved. You want to order something or work with people, partners, they got to be approved through the district. I think those are the most challenging for trying to navigate. How can we raise money, or, even having to get a fundraiser approved before you can even do it.
Right. So, those are the biggest challenges. That's the heavy lifting that I think we have to do as teachers, especially when you're running a program, advisor, or sponsor for a CTSO. Oh my gosh, so much good stuff. I did not want to pause here, but we talked for over an hour. This conversation has been so insightful and what I believe every teacher needs to hear. You can hear from Briaana the impact marketing education and CTSO participation has had on her and her peers. It's so awesome to hear how she's imparting her knowledge and experiences to her students. So come back next Friday to continue this conversation with us. Briaana will share more in-depth information about DECA, the fashion program, and so much more. Thanks for listening to Marketing EdVenture. Remember to subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with someone you think would benefit from the information shared here today. If you have any questions or want to connect with me, find me on Instagram at Marketing EdVenture. All links and resources discussed in this episode can be found in the show notes at marketingedventure.com.